The trail was supposed to be easy, a simple day hike in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina, just me and Torin escaping the grind of our 9-to-5 lives in Charlotte. But as the sun dipped behind the ridges and the path turned into a maze of overgrown brush, I realized we were utterly lost. No signal, no map, and the temperature dropping fast. That's when Torin, my best friend of 5 years, grabbed my hand not for support, but pulled me close and kissed me, shattering everything I thought I knew about us and igniting a fire that would burn through our lives. My name is Jordan Hayes, 28, a software engineer with a stable job, a condo in the suburbs, and a family back in Texas that expected me to settle down with a nice girl someday. Torin Thompson, same age, was my roommate from college days at UNC. Now a graphic designer with a flair for adventure and a smile that could light up a room. We'd been inseparable since freshman year, bonding over late-night study sessions, road trips, and shared dreams of breaking free from the corporate cage. But that kiss? It wasn't just a moment of panic. It was a confession he'd been holding back for years. As we huddled under a rocky overhang that night, waiting for dawn, Torin spilled it all. "Jordan, I've loved you since the day we met," he whispered, his voice trembling in the chill air. "I tried to bury it, date other people, but every time I look at you, it's like the world makes sense." I was stunned, my heart racing not from the cold but from the rush of emotions I'd ignored. The way his laugh made my day better, how I'd catch myself staring at him during movie nights. But I pulled away, my mind flashing to my parents' conservative church back home, the sermons about traditional values, and the fear of what this could mean. "Torin, this can't happen," I said, my voice cracking. "We're friends. That's all." By morning, we found our way back to the trailhead, rescued by a park ranger who'd spotted our car. The drive home was silent, the air thick with unspoken words. I dropped Torin off at our shared apartment and kept driving, ending up at a dingy motel on the outskirts of town. For days, I avoided him, burying myself in work, but the kiss haunted me. Was it the adrenaline, or had I felt something too? My phone buzzed with his messages. "We need to talk. I'm sorry if I ruined everything." Guilt gnawed at me, but so did excitement, a dangerous spark I'd never allowed myself to explore. Finally, I went home. Torin was waiting in the living room, eyes red from lack of sleep. "Jordan, please," he begged. "Don't shut me out." We talked for hours, dissecting our friendship, the subtle moments that now seemed charged with meaning. He told me about his own struggles, coming out to his liberal family in California at 18, the freedom it brought, but also the loneliness of hiding his feelings for me. I admitted my confusion, the attraction I'd dismissed as brotherly affection. By the end of the night, we were in each other's arms, not kissing, but holding on like the world might pull us apart. Our relationship bloomed in secret, stolen moments in the apartment, weekend getaways disguised as bro trips. It was exhilarating. The way his touch sent shivers down my spine, the deep conversations about our futures. But cracks appeared early. At work, I dodged questions about dating. At family calls, I lied about being single. Torin pushed for more openness. "We can't live like this forever," he'd say. "What are we afraid of?" I was afraid of everything. Losing my job in a conservative tech firm, alienating my family, facing the stairs in our southern town. One evening, after a heated argument about attending a pride event, Torin stormed out. I sat alone, staring at the walls, when my sister called. "Mom's been asking about you," she said. "She thinks you're depressed because you're alone. When are you bringing home a girlfriend?" The lie slipped out easily. "Soon, sis. Real soon." Hanging up, shame washed over me. Was I betraying Torin, or protecting us both? The tension built. Torin started spending more time with friends from the local LGBTQ+ community, coming home late with stories of acceptance that made me jealous and resentful. "You could have this too," he'd urge. But I resisted, clinging to my facade. Then came the ultimatum. "Jordan, I love you, but I can't hide anymore. Either we go public or I have to move on. My heart sank. The choice loomed like a storm cloud, forcing me to confront the man I wanted to be versus the one I'd been raised to become. As weeks passed, I wrestled with it internally. Therapy sessions in secret helped unpack the internalized homophobia from my upbringing. The church camps, the pray the gay away rhetoric I'd heard but never applied to myself. Torin was patient, but the distance grew. One night, he didn't come home. Panic set in. I called his phone repeatedly, imagining the worst. When he finally answered, his voice was distant. "I'm at a friend's. I need space." That friend turned out to be Mark, an openly gay colleague who'd been flirting with Torin for months. Jealousy consumed me. I showed up at Mark's apartment the next day, demanding answers. Torin was there, looking exhausted. "This isn't what you think," he said, but doubt seeded. We argued fiercely, accusations flying, me calling him disloyal, him calling me a coward. In the heat, I blurted, "If you're so ready to move on, go ahead." He left in tears, and I drove home alone, regretting every word. Reconciliation came slowly. I apologized, promising to try harder. We agreed to take small steps, telling a few trusted friends. Their reactions were mixed, support from some, awkward silence from others. It felt like progress, but the real test was looming. My parents' visit for Thanksgiving. How could I keep this hidden under the same roof? The holiday arrived, my family filling the apartment with laughter and home-cooked meals. Torin played the role of roommate flawlessly, but the strain showed in his eyes. During dinner, my dad grilled me about my future plans. "You need a family, son. Stability." I nodded, forcing a smile, while Torin excused himself early. Later, in bed, he whispered, "This is killing me." I knew it was, but fear paralyzed me. That night, as everyone slept, I lay awake, torn between love and loyalty. The decision crystallized. I had to choose. But which path? The one that honored my heart, or the one that preserved my world? The morning after Thanksgiving, my family headed to the airport, hugs and promises to visit again soon. As their car pulled away, relief washed over me, but Torin's silence was deafening. He sat on the couch, staring at his coffee. "We can't do this anymore, Jordan," he said finally. "Pretending like this, it's not fair to either of us." His words hit like a punch. I begged for time, but he shook his head. "I've given you time. Now it's a choice." Desperate, I suggested couples counseling. Torin agreed reluctantly, and we started seeing Dr. Elena Ramirez, a therapist specializing in LGBTQ+ issues in Charlotte. Sessions were raw. I unpacked my fears of rejection, how my father's stern expectations had shaped me into a people-pleaser. Torin shared his pain of feeling like a secret, the resentment building from years of suppression. "I want to build a life with you," he said in one session, tears streaming. "But not in the shadows." Progress was slow. I came out to my closest work friend, Sarah, who hugged me and said, "About time." I suspected for ages. Her support boosted my confidence. Torin and I attended a low-key gay bar event, my first time in such a space. The acceptance there was intoxicating. For once, we held hands publicly without fear. But back home, reality intruded. A coworker overheard a conversation and started whispering. Rumors spread, and suddenly, my boss called me in for a chat about professionalism. The pressure mounted. My performance reviews dipped as anxiety took hold. Torin noticed, encouraging me to be honest at work. "They can't fire you for being gay. It's illegal." But in the South, subtle discrimination thrived. I held off, but the strain affected us. Arguments escalated, over small things like chores, but really about the unspoken divide. Then came the betrayal. Scrolling through Torin's phone one night, something I'd never done before, I found messages from Mark. Flirty texts, plans to meet for coffee. My blood boiled. Confronting him, I yelled, "How could you?" Torin defended himself. "It was just talk. I was lonely because you're never fully here." The fight was brutal, ending with him packing a bag and leaving for Mark's place. Alone, I drowned in regret, realizing my hesitation had pushed him away. Days blurred into a haze of work and isolation. Friends checked in, but I brushed them off. Then my mother called unexpectedly. "Jordan, your father and I are worried. You sound distant." I almost confessed everything, but choked on the words. Instead, I lied again, just busy with work. Hanging up, I felt like a fraud. Torin returned after a week, but things were different. Guarded. We tried to rebuild, setting boundaries. No more secrets, more openness. I decided to come out to my sister first. Over a video call, I stammered, "Emily, I'm gay, and I'm with Torin." Silence stretched, then she smiled. "I love you, bro. And Torin is great. I've always thought you two had chemistry." Her acceptance was a lifeline, but she warned, "Mom and Dad, it'll be tough." Dad's old school. Emboldened, I planned to tell my parents during their next visit. But fate intervened. Torin got a job offer in San Francisco, a dream gig with better pay and a progressive company. "This could be our fresh start," he said excitedly. "Come with me." The idea terrified me. Leaving my job, my life, facing the unknown. "What about my family?" I asked. "They'll understand eventually," he replied. But I doubted it. The deadline loomed. Torin accepted the offer, packing boxes. "I'm going with or without you." The ultimatum stung, forcing a decision. I weighed the costs. Stay and lose him or go and risk everything. In therapy, Dr. Ramirez asked, "What do you want, Jordan?" "Not what others expect." For the first time, I admitted, "I want him," but doubts lingered. A late-night call from my father changed everything. "Son, we're proud of you, but we've heard rumors from your cousin in Charlotte. Is there something you need to tell us?" My heart stopped. The secret was out, leaked somehow. Panic set in. How would they react? Confronting the leak, I traced it to a mutual friend who'd gossiped. Anger flared, but so did resolve. I called my parents back, voice steady. "Yes, Dad, I'm gay." The line went quiet. Then my mother sobbed, "How could you do this to us?" My father muttered about sin and disappointment. They hung up, leaving me shattered. Torin comforted me that night, holding me as I cried. "We'll get through this," he promised. But the damage was done. My family cut contact, no calls, no texts. The void ached, a price I hadn't fully anticipated. As moving day approached, I quit my job, ready to follow Torin west. But resentment simmered. Toward my parents, the society that forced this pain. In San Francisco, we settled into a small apartment overlooking the bay. A new chapter. Torin thrived at work, making friends easily. I struggled, job hunting in a competitive market, feeling unmoored. Social events exposed the cracks. At a party, Torin introduced me as his boyfriend proudly. I smiled, but inside, the word felt foreign. Old habits died hard. I flinched at public affection, drawing curious looks. Torin noticed, pulling away emotionally. "You're still hiding," he accused one night. Even here, the argument escalated, dredging up past hurts. The messages with Mark, my delays. "I gave up everything for you," I shouted. "And you almost cheated." He denied it, but trust frayed. We slept in separate rooms, the silence heavier than before. Reconciliation attempts failed. Therapy in SF helped, but the wounds ran deep. Torin suggested a break. "Maybe we need time apart to figure this out." Devastated, I agreed, moving to a sublet across town. Alone again, I reflected on the journey, the hike that started it all, the choices that led here. Weeks passed. I found a job at a tech startup, one that celebrated diversity. For the first time, I attended Pride events solo, embracing my identity. Calls to my family went unanswered, but Emily mediated, sharing that Mom was softening, Dad stubborn. Then, a surprise. Torrin texted, "Can we talk?" We met at a coffee shop, the city buzzing around us. He looked weary. "I miss you," he admitted. "But we rushed this. I pushed too hard." I nodded. "And I held back too much." We agreed to start slow, dating like new, no pressure. But fate twisted again. My father had a heart attack. Emily called, frantic, "Come home, Jordan. He wants to see you." The flight back to Texas was torturous, guilt mixing with anger. At the hospital, my parents looked frail. Dad, weak but alert, squeezed my hand. "I'm sorry, son, for everything." Tears flowed as we talked, his fears, my pain. It wasn't full acceptance, but a bridge. Returning to SF, I shared the news with Torrin. "They're trying." He smiled, pulling me close. Our reunion was tentative, built on lessons learned. But challenges persisted. Societal stares, internal doubts. The story wasn't over. It was evolving, each decision carrying weight. Back in San Francisco, Torrin and I rebuilt carefully, like architects mending a cracked foundation. We set ground rules. Open communication, no ultimatums, therapy twice a month. It worked mostly. Weekends became ours, hikes in Muir Woods, echoing our first, but now with hand-holding and honest talks. I even joined a support group for late bloomers in the LGBTQ+ community, sharing stories that mirrored mine. The internal battles, the family rifts. Work stabilized. My new role at the startup allowed me to thrive without hiding. Colleagues celebrated my relationship, inviting us to events. But shadows lingered. News from home trickled in via Emily. Mom attended a PFLAG meeting. Dad grumbled but listened. Progress yet slow. I visited Texas alone, testing waters. Dinners were awkward. Questions about Torrin dodged with "he's good." The unspoken hung heavy, a reminder of the divide. Torrin's world expanded too. He mentored young designers, including a closeted intern named Tyler. Watching them bond stirred unease echoes of Mark. "It's professional," Torrin assured, but my trust issues flared. One evening, I overheard a phone call. Torrin laughing, planning a late meeting. Paranoia peaked. I confronted him. "Are you seeing someone?" He denied vehemently, showing his phone. Clean, but the fight left scars. "Your insecurity is pushing me away," he said. The cycle repeated. Closeness, conflict, repair. A major test came with Torrin's company retreat in Lake Tahoe. Spouses and partners invited. "Come as my boyfriend," he urged. I hesitated, old fears resurfacing. "What if it's awkward?" He sighed. "It will be if you make it." I went, heart pounding. The group was welcoming, but one coworker, a conservative transplant from the Midwest, made snide remarks about California values. I bit my tongue, but Torrin defended us fiercely. "Love is love, man. Get over it." Pride swelled in me, but so did exhaustion from constant vigilance. Back home, the incident sparked debate. "Why do we have to fight for acceptance?" I vented. Torrin nodded. "Because it's worth it." But was it? Doubts crept in, amplified by a call from Dad. "Your mother's worried about your soul." The word stung, reigniting moral quandaries. Was I defying God, as my upbringing taught, or living authentically? Therapy delved deeper. Dr. Ramirez challenged, "Whose voice is in your head, yours or theirs?" I journaled, unpacking layers of guilt. Torrin supported, but his patience waned. "I can't keep reassuring you," he admitted. Tension built to a head during Pride Month. Torrin wanted to march. I balked at the publicity. "It's symbolic," he argued. "For us, for others." I refused, citing work excuses. He went alone, posting photos online, tagging me. Panic ensued. Family might see. The fallout was swift. Emily texted, "Saw Torrin's post. You two look happy. But Mom called, distraught. Is this real? In public. I confirmed, voice firm. She hung up crying. Torin returned triumphant, but our fight exploded. You outed us without asking, I yelled. I shared my joy, he countered. You're ashamed. The truth hurt. I was remnants of old shame. We separated again, this time for a month. I stayed with a friend, reflecting. The solitude forced growth. I volunteered at a queer youth center, seeing kids braver than I'd been. Their stories of rejection mirrored mine, but their resilience inspired. I realized the cost of hiding outweighed the risks of living openly. Reaching out to Torin, we met at our old spot in the park. I'm ready to try, I said. Fully. He smiled warily. Prove it. I did, posting a photo of us on social media, captioning my love. Reactions poured in, support, some unfollows, but freedom tasted sweet. Family reconciliation inched forward. A family therapy session via video, raw, emotional. Dad admitted his fears stemmed from ignorance. Mom shared her love despite confusion. We want you happy, she said. It wasn't perfect, but healing began. Yet society struck back. At work, a client complained about my lifestyle, threatening to pull business. My boss stood firm. We value diversity, but the incident shook me, highlighting ongoing battles. Torin faced similar. A family friend from his side disowned him for choosing this path. Our bond strengthened through adversity. We planned a commitment ceremony, small, intimate, in Golden Gate Park. Invites went out, including to my parents. They declined politely, citing health reasons. Disappointment stung, but Torin held me. Their loss. The day arrived, sun shining on friends and chosen family. Vows exchanged, rings slipped on, a symbol of our journey. But post-ceremony, doubt whispered. Had we sacrificed too much? Friends toasted our courage, but I pondered the toll. Lost relationships, emotional scars. Months later, normalcy settled. We adopted a dog, symbolizing stability. But a curveball. Torin's ex, Mark, reappeared, now in SF for work. Just colleagues, Torin said. Trust tested again, I chose faith. Paid off, boundaries held. Then tragedy. Emily's accident. A car crash in Texas. I flew home immediately, Torin by my side. At the hospital, my parents saw us together for the first time. Tension crackled, but crisis united. Dad shook Torin's hand. Thanks for coming. Mom hugged him tearfully. Emily recovered, and in quiet moments, conversations flowed. He's good for you, Mom whispered. Acceptance bloomed, fragile but real. Back in SF, we reflected. The path had been fraught with betrayals, self-inflicted and external, damages paid in tears and time. But awakening came. Love demanded courage, and we'd earned it. Still, questions lingered. In a quiet evening, Torin asked, was it all worth it? I nodded, but inwardly debated the ethics of our choices. The lies, the pushes, the pains inflicted. As our life in San Francisco normalized, the undercurrents of past conflicts resurfaced in unexpected ways. Emily's recovery brought my family closer, with weekly calls evolving from stiff updates to genuine talks. Dad even asked about Torin's job, a small victory. But societal pressures didn't vanish. A local news story about anti-LGBTQ+ legislation in other states reminded us of fragility. We can't get complacent, Torin said, donating to advocacy groups. I joined, channeling energy into action. Work challenges persisted. My promotion came with scrutiny, whispers about favoritism due to my diversity status. I confronted it head-on, proving my worth through results. Torin faced a creative block, exacerbated by the move's stress. I missed the East Coast sometimes, he confessed. Homesickness bonded us, but also highlighted differences. His adaptability versus my rooted caution. A major crossroads arrived with Torin's suggestion. Let's start a family. Adoption or surrogacy, ideas that thrilled and terrified. "Are we ready?" I asked. Discussions turned heated. Timelines, finances, the ethics of raising kids in a world still hostile. "Kids need love, not perfection," Torin argued. But my upbringing flashed. Fears of passing on trauma. We tabled it, but the seed planted. Betrayal struck from an unlikely source. My support group. A member, struggling with his own issues, outed confidential stories online, including fragments of mine. Panic ensued. The post went viral in queer circles. Torin raged, "Sue him!" But damage control consumed us, deleting accounts, reassuring friends. The exposure forced deeper introspection. Was vulnerability worth the risk? Healing came through community. We attended a retreat for gay couples, workshops unpacking trust and forgiveness. One exercise, listing grievances. Mine included Torin's flirtations, his my hesitations. Airing them cathartically, we forgave, vowing growth. Family dynamics shifted dramatically. Mom visited SF alone, a surprise. Touring the city, she met our friends, saw our home. Over dinner, she admitted, "I was wrong to judge. Seeing you happy changes everything." Tears flowed. Bridges mended. Dad followed months later, gruff but present. "Takes guts what you've done," he grunted. Torin charmed him with stories, easing tensions. But moral dilemmas arose. A cousin's wedding in Texas. Traditional, religious. Invited as a couple, we debated attending. "It's family," I said. Torin worried. "Will they respect us?" We went, facing microaggressions. Seating apart, no mention in toasts. Hurt, we left early. "Never again," Torin declared. The choice alienated some relatives, a price for dignity. Professional betrayal hit Torin hard. His boss, once supportive, passed him over for a project, citing client preferences. Discrimination veiled as business. Torin fought back, filing a complaint. The process drained him, straining us. I supported, but resentment toward the system grew. "Why do we have to prove our worth twice?" he vented. In the midst, personal awakening peaked. I wrote a blog anonymously, sharing my story. It resonated, garnering messages of solidarity. Emboldened, I revealed my identity. Backlash came, trolls, threats, but so did empowerment. Torin proud, we co-authored pieces advocating change. The family idea resurfaced. After research, we pursued adoption. The process was grueling. Interviews, home studies, exposing vulnerabilities. Doubts plagued. Were we selfish, bringing a child into our world? But a match came, a baby boy, Ethan. Holding him first, love overwhelmed. "This is right," Torin whispered. Parenthood transformed us. Sleepless nights bonded. Decisions tested unity. When Ethan started daycare, a parent's snide comment about two dads stung. We addressed it calmly, educating. But internal conflicts arose. How to raise him resilient against bias. Family integrated slowly. Parents visited, doting on Ethan. Dad's transformation was profound. "Grandpa's here," he'd say, playing. Acceptance full circle, but earned through pain. Yet, a final twist. Mark contacted Torin, apologizing for past flirtations, now in a relationship. Harmless, but it triggered old insecurities. "Why respond?" I asked. "Closure," he said. Trust held, but the incident highlighted ongoing work. Our story, from that lost hike to family life, was a tapestry of choices. Some right, some regrettable. Damages paid. Fractured ties mended. Others lost. Awakenings. Self-acceptance, advocacy. But ethics debated. Did pushing boundaries justify hurts? As Ethan grew, we pondered legacies. What will we tell him? Torin asked. The truth, always. With Ethan turning 2, our world revolved around his giggles and first words. Dada and Papa became our anchors, grounding the chaos of adult dilemmas. But external forces intruded. Legislation in Florida and Texas threatened LGBTQ+ rights, prompting us to lobby locally. Torin testified at City Hall, "For our son, for families like ours." I supported from the audience, heart swelling with pride, but fearing repercussions. Work-life balance strained. My long hours clashed with Torin's creative pursuits. Arguments over childcare escalated. "You're always at the office," he'd say. "You're chasing inspiration while I'm routine-bound," I'd retort. Therapy revisited, unpacking resentments. Resolution: shared duties, date nights mandatory. Family bonds deepened. Holidays in SF with parents visiting. Thanksgiving feasts, Christmas lights. Mom baked with Ethan. Dad taught him ball tossing. "Never thought I'd see this," Dad admitted. "Me neither," I replied. Healing, but vigilance remained. Subtle comments about normal families tested patience. A profound conflict arose with Ethan's biological history. Agency records revealed his birth mother's struggles with addiction, abandonment issues. Do we tell him early? Torin wondered. Ethical debate. Truth versus protection. We chose gradual disclosure, preparing for questions. Societal awakening hit nationally. A Supreme Court case on marriage equality revisited old fears. We marched in protests, Ethan in a carrier, symbolizing stakes. Media interviewed us. "What's at risk?" Torin answered eloquently. I added personal anecdotes. Exposure brought allies and enemies. Hate mail arrived, prompting security measures. Personal betrayal resurfaced. An old college friend, now conservative, messaged, "You've changed, Jordan. This isn't you." Hurt turned to anger. I blocked, but it echoed past rejections. Torin comforted. Their loss. But internally, I questioned. Had I betrayed my roots? Advocacy grew. We started a podcast, Hidden Trails, sharing stories like ours, from that hike to now. Listeners resonated, sending messages of hope. But trolls attacked, forcing moderation. The price? Emotional toll, but reward? Impact. Parenthood's damages showed. Ethan's first bullying incident at preschool. Teased for 2 daddies. Heartbroken, we consoled him, educated staff. "Why are people mean?" he asked. Explaining bias to a toddler, gut-wrenching. Torin raged privately. "Society fails us." I agreed, fueling activism. Moral choices compounded. A job offer for me in New York, lucrative but uprooting. "Think of Ethan," Torin said. Debated pros, better schools, diversity. Cons, leaving networks. We declined, prioritizing stability. Then, a family crisis, Dad's cancer diagnosis. I flew to Texas frequently, Torin joining when possible. Chemo sessions, hospital waits, bonding in adversity. Dad opened up. "Regret pushing you away. Forgiveness sealed. Remission celebrated." Back home, reflection. Our journeys trades. Privacy for visibility. Comfort for growth. Damages, emotional wounds healed slowly. Awakenings, profound self-knowledge. As Ethan slept one night, Torin and I talked futures. "We've come far," he said, "but the fight continues." Years blurred as Ethan entered school. A bright kid navigating a world we'd fought to improve. Bullies faded with education. Friends embraced our family. But teen years loomed, promising fresh challenges. Torin and I, now in our 40s, reflected on the path. From lost hikers to advocates, parents, partners. Professional peaks. I led a diversity initiative at work. Torin published a graphic novel based on our story. Royalties funded scholarships for queer youth. But fame's price. Privacy eroded. A documentary featured us, sparking debates online. Supporters cheered. Critics condemned, pushing agendas. Family full circle. Parents retired to SF nearby, babysitting Ethan. Dad's transformation complete, marching with us at Pride. "For my grandson," he'd say. Mom volunteered at PFLAG, atoning. Yet moral reckonings persisted. Ethan's questions deepened. Did you ever regret? We shared honestly the pains but no regrets. Love won, Torrin said. A final test. Torrin's health scare. A suspicious lump. Biopsy weight agonizing. Negative, but it forced priorities. More time together, less activism burnout. Our bond, forged in fire, endured. Anniversaries celebrated that hike, now with Ethan teaching survival metaphorically. The story's essence. Choices consequences, betrayals lessons, awakenings gifts. Damages paid dearly, but growth invaluable. In the end, was forcing change through personal sacrifice ethically right, or did it cause unnecessary harm?